So I started playing violin just before my 3rd birthday. My dad studied music very seriously, though he's not a professional musician. And he always took me to concerts when I was little and exposed me to a lot of music, different repertoire, and different performance practices as well through recordings. I went to a very special music school from the time I was about 6 years old until I think I was 11, called the School for Strings in New York, and there I had the opportunity to play chamber music, like serious chamber music in a string quartet from the time I was 7 years old. And when I did that was really when I fell in love with being a musician and knew that that's what I wanted to do. This repertoire was really easy for me to choose. Basically, the director of Rubicon Classics, Matthew Cosgrove, asked me, if you could record anything you want, what would you play? And I said, I want to play Bieber Crucifixion Sonata, Bieber Passacaglia, and I named all the pieces in exactly the order I wanted to record them in. So they really feel, at this point, like a part of me, and it feels like my repertoire, so it was really easy to make the choice. These particular composers from the 20th century that I've recorded, Sciarrino and Berio, were fascinated by 17th century repertoire and by early music in general. And I've been looking for the past 5 years for a way to bring to life the connection that I've found between these two repertoires. And when I've played these kinds of programs and concerts, it's usually been a success. So anyway, but this CD is the culmination of a lot of exploration and experimentation with that, and I'm really excited about it. The next things I want to record, I have 2 CD projects in mind. One is Schubert violin and keyboard works on period instruments. This was initially 6 years ago supposed to be my first CD, and it didn't work out because of where the forte piano was not a good space to record in, and it was really expensive and complicated to move it to another space. But when I first came to Europe, before I even moved here from the US, I had the opportunity to do a lot of Schubert playing on period instruments, and this was sort of my introduction also into the world of historical performance in Europe, because it brought me into contact with people who became very influential in my life, including Christopher Hogwood, who was very encouraging about me doing that project and generously always had his door open for rehearsals using his extremely beautiful Brodmann forte piano from the early 19th century, and also Maggie Faultless, who's been a really important mentor to me since then. That's where I started my historical performance journey, and I want to, for my next album, go back there and see it through.